Welcome back to part 2 of the entrepreneur course. Last time we talked about the mindset and what the requirements are for being a successful entrepreneur. Today we'll be talking about one of the biggest issues that entrepreneurs face in the economy, which is dealing with competition. Alright, so in the last class, we talked about how 80 to 90% of all businesses fail in the first 5 years. Is usually due to the lack of planning. There's the saying, proper planning prevents poor performance. It's one of those sayings that is so true. If you have the correct market plan, you understand your customers, you understand what they need, what their wants, what their passions and fears are. Well, I'll make another video on sales and how to sell anything to anyone. That's a video you guys can look up to. But having the proper planning is extremely important when starting a business. One of the planning is identifying your potential and actual competitors. So I drew these 4 boxes, a 2x2 matrix of different types of competitors that you would face in the economy. So it's really like clear. You guys can see the direct, actual direct, the actual indirect, the potential direct, the potential indirect. We'll go into more in depth later. But when we talk about your success as an entrepreneur, is at the expense of your competitors' failures. Alright, so if you guys remember last course, we talked about you guys have to be a lot more active in these classes. So I want you guys to repeat after me. Your success is at the expense of your competitor's failure. And you always have competition. Alright, you never have a time in which you do not have competition. We'll go into more in that later. So in this class, we'll be talking about identifying your competitors, which is these 4, and how to beat them. So right here we have a chart, a list of different competitive advantages. We'll talk more about that later. But now we'll be talking about the 4 types of competitors: direct actual competitors, indirect actual competitors, direct potential competitors, and indirect potential competitors. So if you guys want to jot down some notes, drawing this table here is a really clear way to basically organize these different categories of competitors. So what is a direct competitor? A direct competitor is the competitor that sells exactly the same product or service. And you know, last time we talked about the 10 or 12, the 12 main types of services that or products that you could provide. So if you guys are curious about that, go back to the last video or the last class. We went a lot more into depth. But the direct competitors are your biggest enemies, and compared to indirect competitors. Indirect competitors are also very dangerous, but like the direct competitors are your enemies. Okay. So here I have direct actual, direct potential. So let me before I dive into this, I want to address what actual means. So actual is someone that's already in the market. Okay. So direct actual is someone that sells exactly the same product or service that's already in the market. You can refer to these keys I linked. And a potential, here at potential, I mean not in the market yet. So they're potentially dangerous to your business. So although it is not in the market yet, it is potentially dangerous to the market. Alright, so I'll start out with the direct actual competitors. These competitors are called the enemies. For example, if you own let's say a pizza restaurant at on your local block, and 2 blocks away there's another Italian pizza shop. So that is your direct actual competitor. They're selling the same product, in this case it's the pizza, and in the same area, in the same marketplace, targeting the same customer's needs. Well, wants. Sometimes you want pizza, sometimes you need pizza. But I'll go into some basics. Why do people even buy stuff? People buy stuff because of their needs and their wants. Those are the only 2 reasons people buy anything. This is very basic economics, and you guys should know. But what I'm saying here is direct actual competitors are people that target the same products or services that is in your area and sells the same product or services. So these people are called your enemies. Get a real quick drink. Alright, we'll be going into the indirect actual competitors. So actual competitors are competitors that are already in your market. However, indirect, let me elaborate a little bit more. Indirect competitors are competitors that targets the same needs or wants, however, with a different approach with their product or services. Let's go back to the story. If you own a pizza shop in your local block, and let's say in the same block someone has a Chinese restaurant, right? These are indirect actual competitors. Why, you might ask? Because these businesses target the same needs or wants of your customers. So going back to the story, you have a pizza shop, you provide the local residences with food. So you address their needs for food. However, this other competitor, which is, let's say, the Chinese restaurants, they probably sell dumplings or something like that. They also address your customers' needs of having food. So although they are not direct competitors, they are still competitors nonetheless that are worth equal amounts of your attention. Okay. So they target the same market, which in that in the story is the food market. In other instances, it could be the financial market. It could be hospitality, it could be entertainment, it could be agriculture. So, targets the same market, appears to stem needs or wants of your customers. So usually these categories are called substitutes. Indirect actual competitors are called substitutes. People, if they can't or they won't buy your product or services, they'll go to these substitutes to achieve their needs or wants. So if we go back to the story, we can see a Chinese restaurant in this instance to be a substitute of the Italian restaurant. So if you cannot or won't buy the product or services, you come to these substitutes. Alright, so far we have addressed the actual direct competitors, the actual indirect competitors. Well, now we'll be moving into the potential direct competitors and the potential indirect competitors. Potentially indirect competitors. Okay, so what do I mean by a potential direct competitor? These are competitors that have not entered the market yet. However, they have the resources that if they enter your market, your business will most likely go bankrupt. Alright, so I gave the name for these potentially direct competitors called big boxes. What do I mean by big boxes? They're usually chain restaurants, chain franchises, or very, very big companies. For example, if you have a local hardware store, and let's say if IKEA, okay? If IKEA or, let's just say IKEA. If you own a local hardware store and IKEA is coming to town, right? These are potentially direct competitors. Although IKEA has not moved to town yet, they are potentially dangerous for your business because they provide the same product and services and addresses the same needs or wants. But because these are big chains, they have the means of advertisement, they have more resources, they have more storage spaces. So they can lower the prices to kick you out of the economy. So potentially, direct competitors are one of the most dangerous. Because sometimes you don't see them coming. Sometimes you don't see these big franchises moving into your town. But when the franchises move into your town, it's very, very dangerous and harms your company by a lot. Okay? So potentially direct competitors are one, if not the most dangerous, I would say. Alright, so the last type, or the last category of competitors, I'll name them as the obsolete, the indirect potential competitors. Alright, now this might be a little bit confusing, but I'll try my best to explain. Indirect, meaning they do not provide the same product or services, and they're potentially dangerous to the survival of your business. So this might be artificial intelligence. They're indirectly targeting to your same market, and they're also potentially dangerous to your market, right? You can have technology, you can have self-driving cars that is indirectly affecting the transportation, and is also potentially dangerous for current car drivers or bus drivers or taxi drivers or whatever. So for this category, we call them obsolete. They leave your business obsolete. So they are inventions, they're pioneers, they're changers of the economy and how people interact with money. So so these 4 categories are the 4 main types of competitors. So you want to keep in mind, you always have one of these, okay? You always have an enemy. Well, you don't always have an enemy, you always have one of these 4. You might have an enemy, you might have a substitute, you might have a franchise that's coming here to steal your business, you might have the business that's going to take your customers and make it obsolete. So these 4 competitors one of these 4 competitors always exists in the economy. Well, unless your product is really undesirable or your service is really, really undesirable that no one actually wants to have it, well, if that's the case, entrepreneurship might not be for you. Alright, so we addressed that you always have competitors. So, now moving into how you can actually beat your competitors. I've broken down into 3-step processes. It's very, very easy and digestible. So first of all, you have to understand your market and know what it needs and what it wants. So why do you want to know what your market needs and what your market wants? So go back to Sales 101. People buy stuff because of needs and wants. So if you want to beat your potential competitors or actual competitors, what you want to do is know and understand what your customers really, really want. So that's first step. This should be in your market plan, okay? Knowing what your customers actually need and want. So the first step is to do that. And the second step is to find your competitive advantage. Now, what do I mean by competitive advantage? There is a whole list of competitive advantages. For example, I wrote down 10 of the most common competitive advantages. Trust. If customers trust in a business, the business will be much better than their competition. Business scale. If you have 10, let's say pizza shops all around the town, of course you'll have more business compared to, let's say, 1 business shop, because people will trust you more and your business goes bigger. Thirdly, si habla español. If you can speak another language, that would be very, very valuable. I feel like the Spanish community is really, really, the market for Spanish communities is really, really looked over in American economy. Seeing as how immigration from Latin America, from Mexico, is a big part of American culture now. And if you guys really want to double or even triple your income in your business, your cash flow, adding these 3 words, si habla español, on your name card, I bet your business will explode. Well, I don't bet, but there's a higher chance. Or if you know how to speak Mandarin, 我会说中文, there's a lot more customer flow that will go to your restaurant instead of, let's say, the other stores. Right? So this is a competitive advantage. Okay. So another one is design, your aesthetics, your layout of your shop. How does your shop actually look? Is it aesthetically pleasing? Is it boring and mundane? How does your shop present? Customer satisfaction, price, location, price and location. These are usually when we think of competitive advantage, you just think of these 2. But there's tons of them. Tons of different competitive advantages that you can have over your competitors. Right? Location. Let's say you have the best pizza shop in, let's say, Texas. Right? But if they have to drive 20 miles away from downtown Dallas, then no one wants to go there. However, if your pizza shop is smack bang in the middle of downtown Dallas, then it will be a lot more convenient for people to buy. Even if you have to go, that'll be even better. So you can add to go, having food delivery services or product delivery services into your competitive advantages. So productivity, quality, location, relationships. You're building relationships with these people. You're building relationships with your customers. You make friends. So understand your competitive advantage, and the third step is build on your competitive advantages. Take initiative, initiate these competitive advantages. Whether it is trust, trust the customers have trust in your business, whether it's the scale of your business, whether it is you're able to speak another language, right? Or your design, your aesthetics, your customers, satisfaction, your price, the location. These are just some very, very basic. I need like 2 times the size of this whiteboard to explain all the types of competitive advantages. So if you guys want to know more competitive advantages, I might make a separate video on it explaining the different types of competitive advantages and how you can implement them. But for now, this is just a really, really short introduction on how to beat your competition through competitive advantages. So okay, so let's say you have, let's just go back to the pizza shop as well. You have a pizza store, and let's say you speak Italian, French, and Spanish, right? So you can build trust and relationships. Both of these are competitive advantages. You could build trust with probably people that aren't so good at English. You could build relationships with those customers, right? And if the customer satisfaction will go up. So that's killing like 3 or 5 birds with 1 stone. Knowing how to speak a foreign language is extremely valuable when building trust, when building customer satisfaction, when building relationships. These are all competitive advantages that you should initiate your move on. Alright? Alright, so we talk about, let's do a very, very short overview and just a summarize of this whole lesson. It's a really, really short lesson, just around 15-16 minutes, but I'll do a summary of this. So first of all, you always have competitors, and your success in the business is often at the expense of your competitors' failures. So this is you have to keep this in mind, alright? And secondly, we went into the 4 different types of competitors: the enemy, the substitute, the big box, and the obsolete. You guys could all rewind back to where I explained these for more in depth. You guys really should take notes, because I wrote these down so it's really, really clear to understand. And we went into beating your competition. Step 1, understand your market, what they need and what they want. Step 2, find your competitive advantage, which I listed around 10 here. If you guys want to see more competitive advantages, I'll make a new video. I'll also link to a few blog posts or articles that shows competitive advantages. And thirdly, build your competitive advantage. Build on it. Make sure that it's the best that it could be. You don't always have to provide the best pizza. You don't always have to provide the cheapest pizza. You don't always have to speak a second language. You don't always have to have the best design. You don't necessarily have to have the best quality, right? If you have mediocre quality pizza, but your location is optimal, then of course, your business will have a better competitive advantage compared to if you have an awesome pizza recipe, but your location is very poor, probably in the middle of the swamps, right? So here are just a really quick overview of identifying and beating your competition. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, leave a like and a subscribe. We'll get back to you in the next lesson. In the next lesson, let me check what we'll be talking about. In the next lesson, we'll be talking about making your market plan, as well as, in the next lesson, we'll be talking about how to actually write your market plan that will actually fit your, what business or service you want to provide. So after I make a video on the market plan, I'll make a video on how you could find your business partners. Okay, so after market plan is business partners, after business partners is how do you prevent your company from being sued. Alright, so being sued is one of the biggest fears of entrepreneurs, of course, for whether it's malpractice, whether it's bad quality or injuries. Alright, so this is, I'll say these 5 courses, these 5 videos are just a very brief overlook on entrepreneurship and some basic things. So hopefully you enjoyed this course, and I'll see you guys in the next video. We'll be talking about market plans.